We're live on it. Hey, what's up, Thunder fans? Welcome back to another week of Thunder Things with the Thunder Guys. I'm Zack, and this is Craig. And what's up, man?
Hey, how's it going?
Man, it's been a bit of a rough start here. We're getting started just a few minutes late, but that's all right. We're up and running, and we're good to go. Kicking off our new showtime at 5:30. I mean, I guess now it's 5:37, but
Hey,
close
new
to-
showtime 5:37 every Tuesday.
And we're running until 7 o'clock tonight, so we hope that you guys are ready for some Thunder basketball talk. We've got some a little bit extra time than we've had the past few months or so. We're excited about that because that gives us more time to talk about basketball. Seems like we're always rushed, so we
more
were
time
able
to
to
just
negotiate and get a little extra time. So we're excited about it.
Yeah. How was your New Year's?
Man, it was super low key chill, and I'm actually okay with that. For like I don't know how many years in a row, Angie and I and the kids, we just kind of put them in bed about normal time. We didn't even do the fake countdown with them because I try to reserve my lies for them for more important stuff. But put them to bed, and then watched a movie, rang in the New Year. I actually played some Xbox after that and got to bed a little late, so it was cool. So I actually head back to school tomorrow. So I spent a lot of today getting some work done that I probably should have done before today. But hey, it's cool. I'm actually super prepared for tomorrow and ready to jump back into second half of the school year. But that's enough of the personal talk. Let's go ahead and jump in here. We're going to talk some weekly recap stuff. It's been a weird week in a lot of different ways. I thought that we looked really good, obviously, on Christmas Day. We had our day after Christmas show last week. We talked about the big win over the Rockets. That was huge for us in so many capacities. We beat the Golden State Warriors earlier in the season, but for us in December, that was kind of like a marquee win in terms of finally proving that we could beat a top talent.
Right.
And then we turn around 2 days after that, last Wednesday, and then we beat the Raptors, who at the time had the longest active winning streak in the league. They were the top team in the East, and we've talked about them. I know the past couple weeks they've been in our power rankings as being sneaky good. That's the term that we've used. And I mean, I thought we looked good. Not completely start to finish. The first quarter was rough, but from that point forward, we just kind of took over. And I was looking back over the stats earlier, and the numbers that stood out to me weren't just how good our offense was, but how good our defense was against a good offense like Toronto. If you're looking at their point totals, DeMar DeRozan, he just dropped, what was it, 52?
Yeah.
Was it last night or 2 nights ago? I can't
Something
remember.
like that.
It was past couple nights. Dropped 52 points. We held him to 15 on 4 of 16 shooting. I mean, he got to the line 7 times, but to me, that's fantastic because he was the guy that I was worried about. I knew that was going to be a tough matchup. Obviously, we were healthy at the time, which was awesome. We've been missing Dre past few games. Paul George here and there, but holding him to 15 was awesome. Kyle Lowry, he only had 13. You look at Serge, who killed us last year whenever we played the Magic, whenever he was with the Magic. He only had 7. Really the only player that
Kind of a quiet game. And
yeah, he did not. I mean, the only highlights that he made was whenever Carmelo Anthony got him dancing and did one of those little step back jumpers and really embarrassed him. So that was good to see. The one thing that I did not like was CJ Miles. He shot 6 for 12 from the field. Every single one of those shots was a 3. And most of those, it was like he was just wide open. And I feel like that's kind of been a developing issue with this team. And a lot of people say, well, that's always been an issue. Well, that's not really true. We only notice that teams are hitting wide open threes when they're hitting wide open threes.
Right.
If teams are missing threes or if we're contesting them and they're missing, like, nobody's going to complain about perimeter defense. But genuinely, the last few games, the 3-point defense has kind of slacked a little bit, and to me, that's what stood out. Him shooting 6 for 12, that's outrageous to me. That should never happen. We should be doing that to teams. We should not be letting that. Especially CJ Miles, he was coming off an injury, came off the bench, and he was able to do that. So
yeah, for me, it was the big 3. Looking at how well they all shot extremely well.
Oh yeah. I'd say one of the best overall games for those guys.
Right, and then Steven Adams, another solid night, 8 for 9. And then on the defensive side of things, you look at C.J. Miles, who was 50% from the three, but as a team, they shot below 30%.
Right, which is always good.
Right, and they're not a top team in 3 points made, but as percentage-wise, they're a top 15 team in the league. So they're in the top half, which is pretty decent. So the fact that the Thunder were able to hold them below 30% to me was a huge key.
For me, seeing Russell Westbrook shoot 11 for 22 was huge. Paul George here, 7 for 10 from 3. That was awesome. What really stood out to me was Steven Adams, 4 steals. He's like sneaky good.
Yeah, with his hands in the paint.
He's one of those guys, and you hear that term active hands a lot. He's that guy. And when you're in elementary basketball, you learn how to deny the basketball. Like, you think, well, what's the point? Obviously, they're not going to pass the ball when my hand's there. But you have to realize, if your hand's there, it's more able to be in the passing lane to hit those balls out of play. And once again, he's not necessarily always the guy that comes up with the steal. But how often does he deflect the ball into somebody else? Or one of our wing defenders, Paul George, Andre Robertson, they're so good at disrupting opposing offenses. And then Adams gets the steal, and we're able to push the floor. Transition offense.
Right, when you combine that with the guard play up on the key.
Yeah. I heard, I think it was, I'm blanking. Either Fred Katz or maybe Brett Dawson. They were talking about how one of the guys genuinely thinks that we could have 3 guys on the NBA all-defensive team in Adams, Dre, and George. And I'd be willing to say if Russell Westbrook would commit all the time, he could be on that team also.
Wasn't he an all-defensive player back in college?
He was.
That's the thing. It's like
Pac-12 Defensive Player of the Year or something like that.
And then he gets to the NBA and he's all offense. But hey.
He's been accused of it's point guard, not pass guard. All about the offense.
Listen, in my opinion, Russell Westbrook this last month has been the best basketball of his entire career.
I saw you say that on Twitter, and I don't know if I can disagree, but
as far as like how efficient he's been,
that's true. His shooting has been just through the roof compared to, especially, I think turnaround wise, by far.
Right, how poorly he started the season to now is
it's night and day. It's like he flipped a switch and it was all right, guys. Let's do this.
And I don't think it's a coincidence that he's starting to play better and the big three is following.
Bingo.
And we talked about this. It all starts with Russell Westbrook, and now it's trickling down from there. Teams falling into place.
And it's funny because last year it really was the same thing. As he goes, the team will go.
Right.
It's still the case because we've said this. He's the alpha of the alphas. He's the guy that everybody's going to look to. Whether he's taking that shot against Dallas that we don't like at the buzzer, and he misses. I saw so many people complaining about, is that really the shot that we want? And I'm like, if it goes in, that's definitely the shot we want.
Right, no one complains about it. How many times have you seen him knock that shot down?
Exactly. I personally don't like the shot, but I love it when he makes it. So I've just come to the point where I'm reserved to, I'm not going to complain about it anymore because he makes it, honestly, not as often as he misses it, but I feel like he's got a pretty decent clutch percentage there. And I don't know who else I really want taking the shot. I mean, Paul George is obviously our best three-point shooter, but at the same, teams know those things. And I think because when Paul George is shooting really well, and then you've got Russ come in and he takes one of those, it may not be the best shot, I guess you could say, but we know Russ wants it. We know he's going to take it. They know he's going to take it. I think back to Denver when he took that shot, and I remember, in my mind, yelling no. But as soon as he hit it, I jumped up, and I yelled so loudly and, stretched out wide that I think I hurt my shoulder, if I remember correctly.
That sums up, the entire last season, though.
It does,
no,
though.
Yes.
Yeah, and people do that a lot. And I don't know if it's because in today's society, social media is so quick to react so quickly. If because of that I don't know if oh man, looks like our stream's not doing too hot. I don't know. We'll see. We'll keep going. Anyways, I'm gonna ask real fast how's it looking. What I was saying was, so people are so quick to react. Bad shot. Oh man, why is he out there playing? Good shot. Yeah, feed him the rock. And they're so reactive instead of just let things play out a little bit. During the losing streak, during all those losses, it's what do we need to do? Fire Billy, trade Paul George, do this, do that, and it was just let's relax.
Right.
Now is really the time where I feel like this is the Thunder team that we're going to be seeing a lot. Now, I hate to even say that because of the way the last 2 games have gone, and we're going to get into those a little bit more, but for me, I'm okay with the loss to Milwaukee because it shouldn't have been a loss. I feel like, obviously we got cheated, and we'll get to that.
Yeah.
But the loss to Dallas shouldn't have. We've been dealing with health issues, though. And I look at those, and everybody says you got to play with what you got, and, like, Rockets fans were all up in our mentions about CP3's missing, blah, 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 blah. And I'm like, and I get that. You got to play with what you got, and that's fine. But here's the thing. A guy like Chris Paul is perpetually injured. The guys that we've got are pretty young. I mean, the oldest guy we have, obviously, is Nick Collison. He's not playing a lot. The oldest active player that we have that's actually getting regular minutes is probably Carmelo Anthony. And he's actually fairly healthy for what he's doing here in Oklahoma City.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I don't really feel like that's bad for us, what we're doing. I don't know. What do you think?
What blows my mind is the great December we had and the turnaround there, and then I'm still seeing people that are like, well, we still should have fired Billy Donovan, but now it's too late. Now we're 30-some games in. Like, we missed our opportunity, so now we have to live with it.
He's doing a better job. Why did we not fire him?
So it makes no sense. I don't understand that. But the losses are frustrating. I mean, we can get into them here in a second. Let's just go ahead.
Let's talk about Milwaukee. As far as let's save the egregious officiating gaffe for the very end. And let's look at stats here. For me, these are the ones that stand out. Defensively, Giannis, the Greek Freak, 23 points on 10 of 16 shooting. That's to me, I'm okay with that. He's a guy that can easily put up 30, 40 points a game if he needs to. I'm okay with that. What I'm not okay with, Chris Middleton shooting 3 for 8 from 3. Tony Snell shooting 4 for 10 from 3. Then you look at Jason Terry, who can barely even play basketball anymore. Yeah, he hit a wide open 3.
Still in the league.
Seriously, every time he comes onto the court, I'm just like, how long ago was it that he got that tattoo with the Mavericks and they actually won, and like he didn't look like a total idiot and all those things. Thon Maker hit a 3, which was just ridiculous. Of course, this was the game where Russell Westbrook baptized him, made him a poster. Honestly, and we both agree, this could be one of those dunk of the year candidates.
Absolutely.
Fantastic. But overall, I mean, we gave up too many points. The defense was not good, which is crazy because they only scored 97. But the guys that we gave the points to, I feel like that's what was a problem.
Right. So you can allow the Greek Freak to have his 10 of 16, kind of like when you play James Harden, when you play LeBron, you know they're going to get their points. You just can't let everybody else shoot nearly 50%. And I mean, they did. They were at 47 as a team. So that killed us. To me, not having Paul George was huge, both offensively and defensively. Yes. I think more noticeably in this game, probably on offense. I mean, we still held them to 97 points, which is puts you in a position to win.
What killed us? First quarter.
Yeah,
gave up 38 points, down by 20, because we pretty much not dominated, but we won the game. Obviously, outscored them by 18 the rest of the way. But when you're down by 20, outscoring a team by 18 doesn't matter at that point.
So that's what I was going to say about the whole stepping out of bounds in that situation. To me, it's a horrible call. The NBA, the officials, they have to get their stuff together. There has to be some sort of, I don't know, some sort of like repercussions for referees when they miss calls like this. I don't know if they need to like sit out a game, if there needs to be some sort of, those kind of things just can't go without being noticed. However, if we don't spot them 20 points in the first half, it's not an issue in my opinion.
I agree.
And like I said, it doesn't take away how frustrating it was that call was missed.
Right.
But you can't put yourself in that situation where you can let the officials change the game. And I don't want to be a fan who blames the refs. I don't want to be a team that does that. And I feel like
you don't want to be a team that needs to send in a formal complaint and then have your star player make a complaint about the officiating, even though he gets to go to the free throw line 17 times a game. Is that what you're saying? Okay.
No, exactly. That's exactly what I'm saying. I know, and it seems like it seems to me on that situation that James Harden was copying LeBron a little bit in his little. Or were you talking about LeBron?
No, I was talking. LeBron has every right to complain because I feel like he has become a guy that is really not getting calls that he used to.
Which is insane because we've been seeing him for years get calls that.
Whereas James Harden, I can't, whether he deserves calls or I don't know if you saw the play where he literally looped his arm into a guy and then spun around in a circle and put up a shot and the guy was literally like this the whole time. And he got called for a foul. I can't even remember who it was against. It was their most recent game maybe. But it was embarrassingly bad for the officials to make a call like that. And I feel like this year, whether it's been against us, I don't know. I always feel like we get bad calls, but that's just part of the fan bias, whatever. The officials have made so many, in my mind, unforgivable calls or no calls. It's ridiculous that we have the replay abilities that we have in today's technology where there's not a guy that could be like, he stepped out of bounds, and solve it right then. Like, I don't care that there wasn't a whistle. I don't care that, how hard would it be to go back and look and say he stepped out of bounds? We need to add the time to the clock that at the point where he stepped out, take away the basket, Thunderball.
Right. Well, the thing is there has to be like a rule change there. I mean, they couldn't within the rules at that point.
Even though
correct the
somebody
mistake.
Dug up a rule that says that apparently it was reviewable, and I don't know if that's the most recent updated rule book. I've yet to see what like the final conclusion on that was.
Right.
But regardless, it's frustrating as a fan.
Right. And then what I was talking about LeBron on Christmas Day complaining about the calls, and then you see a couple days later, or was it the same? Was it Christmas Day that James Harden did his little rant too? Was he this shortly after? It kind of seemed like he was kind of.
I don't think he made one on Christmas Day. I know
it was like a couple days later. I liked how the Thunder handled it. From what I heard in the locker room, Raymond Felton, Russell Westbrook were just kind of, that's just the way it goes.
Right,
sometimes you're on the wrong side of the whistle, and I like that. I like that there was no. There's probably not going to be any fines handed out, which is always a good thing.
Patrick Patterson got one because he made a comment on Twitter, even though
was it Patrick Patterson?
Yeah,
because I thought it was Paul George.
No,
I knew I saw somebody tweet something.
No, Paul George tweeted something during the game.
Okay,
but I guess his was not worthy of a fine, which I'm okay with. Patrick Patterson actually made used some choice words.
Okay.
He didn't actually say like NBA refs or officiating or anything like that. So there was a joke going around about what was he really talking about, movies or his hair salon or whatever, that kind of thing. But he did end up getting a fine. But yeah, Raymond Felton, I especially like Russell Westbrook because he was just his typical self. He's like, you saw it, he stepped out of bounds. Nothing we can do about it now. Time to move on. And that's a good attitude to have. It's hard for me to, as a fan, to have that attitude, but I mean, really, that's what you got to do in this situation.
Russell Westbrook cracks me up, man. We talk about getting media credentials all the time, but I would be terrified to ask him a question just because of you have no like he's either in a great mood and he's gonna give you some good content, or he's just kind of like, I don't want to be here right now.
Like, I don't know if you saw the away game, he's getting interviewed and the music's playing in the background, and he's just chilling, and he's got the Thunder PR guy there, and he's got his arm around him, and he's like, yeah, what you think, man? Yeah, he's just getting it. And then other times he's just like, nope.
Right, yeah.
One word answer.
To compete at a high level, man.
Yeah.
Now, I think honestly, if
you know why I'm here.
if he had the option to never do post game interviews, I don't think he would do them. I think it's kind of like
it's almost. Some guys love it.
Right.
They love the media. They love the attention, and I just don't get that that's his vibe.
Yeah. And that's why I don't ever see him going out to LA, ever.
He's always been close-knit with his family, a few friends, that kind of thing. Those are upcoming games. I'll get you up. But that kind of thing. So, yeah, I just... Moving on to Dallas, to me, this was one of those really bad losses. Going 1-2 against Dallas so far this season is unforgivable in my mind.
Yeah. You asked me... If I said it doesn't matter what games we win. If we lose to Dallas, it's a disappointing week to me. And look where we are.
It's crazy that we beat Toronto as well as we did. I'm just gonna say we got cheated against Milwaukee, and then we lose to Dallas, and we look at it as like an utter disappointment. And the reason is, Harrison Barnes, who really has not been anything special at Dallas. He killed us. 24 points, 10 of 15. He was 4 for 6 from 3.
Goodness.
Dennis Smith Jr. was super quiet almost the whole game, and then in the fourth quarter he erupted for like maybe 16 of his 19 points. I can't even remember how many it was. It was stupid, whatever it was, including that bank three that he hit at the end. One of those just, and Westbrook's done it before, so I guess it's not really.
It's kind of one of those shots that when he let go of it, I was like, that's going in.
Well, every time he shot it in the fourth, it was just like, of course, I felt the same way about Russ because Russ got hot and. Like we were talking about, so many people were so mad about that final shot that he took. But if it goes in, what are people going to say?
Right.
I don't know anybody who's in their right mind that's like, well, it was still a bad shot. Now I might because I'm petty like that, and I'm not a big fan of jacking up a three when you only need a two. We were going for the win. If he makes it, obviously he looks like a hero. But we didn't need to. We had 30 seconds. He could have driven, could have gotten to the basket. Of course, he was hitting everything at mid range. But at the same time, I guess. They had to have been thinking, we can't stop them right now. We have to hit a three. And if that's the case, that's fair. It's sad, but and one thing that really bummed me out was the fact that Josh Hustis, he gets the start, which we haven't even gotten to the part where I want to talk about Alex Abrines. But Josh gets the start, and he didn't really do anything. He was 0 for 3 from 3.
Took 3 shots.
Which he didn't play a whole lot, 19 minutes. He was a -2, which isn't really bad. He played some decent defense, had a steal, but, I mean, it wasn't anything. Oh, and he had a block shot. So, I mean, he did some of that, but he wasn't hitting those threes like he's been able to this season. And, obviously, he's not started at the NBA level before.
This is his first career start in the NBA, right?
It could have been some nerves there, New Year's Eve, whatever.
Yeah, packed house. Yeah, absolutely.
But outside of him, I'm looking at, we did not get a lot of help around the team. Russell Westbrook goes 17 for 28, which is, you were talking about efficiency. That's outrageous. 0 for 4 from 3 was not good. He took almost all of those in the last
I would say at least
few minutes of the fourth
only
quarter.
4
of
them
overtime.
as opposed to 12.
He's not. I mean, if you look at these last few games, he shot there's 1 3-point attempt and 2 for 9 against the Bucks. That was not good. I didn't realize that. But
to me, the biggest issue here is not having Andre Robertson.
Yes.
Bigger impact on the defense than when Paul George is out. That's for sure.
Because that's his thing.
I mean, look, giving up 116 points to the Mavericks, there's no way that should ever happen.
They barely average 100.
Tell me this: if you saw this stat line coming in, Westbrook 38 points, Paul George 25, Melo 21. Are you saying we're losing?
Though in Raymond Felton getting 12 on 5 of 10, I'm
sure,
saying
and then
no way.
Adams in double digits with 10 as well. I'm picking the Thunder to win that game
every time.
If I know that's going to be the
there's
turnout
no
in the
reason
end.
not. In my opinion, against most teams, if we can score 113 points, we're going to win. Because our defense will hold most teams under 100 points. Most, not all. I'd say at least 20 of the other 29. So I mean, this is a bad loss. To me, it came down to we couldn't finish. At the end, I was bummed. I don't know about you.
Yeah, I was bummed. But I've kind of had like a change of heart there a little bit with. I kind of felt like if we didn't win this game, it would kind of, I don't know, put a damper on the flow of things for this team. But I don't think it's going to have that much of an effect. I really expect them to bounce back this week.
Right.
We're on a bit of a road trip this week, but some winnable games.
Very winnable.
I don't think this is ultimately going to have any effect on the tempo or the pace that this team has been playing at.
I feel like we're going to get into here in a few minutes talking about how good the offense has been.
Now that it's over, I'm not as upset. It's an embarrassing loss nonetheless.
So we're going to go ahead and take a break for our radio listeners. If you're listening on Crossover Radio with a Purpose, let you guys get a chance to hear from some of our sponsors. So we're going to talk about that, and then we will be right back to talk some more basketball.
We can go ahead and do my top 5. Opening this break like planned.
Okay, cool.
Top 5 worst New Year's resolutions.
Rad. If you are watching live, thank you for joining us. Please feel free to jump in on the conversation. We'd love to hear from you guys. Obviously, we're super excited to be doing what we're doing. I feel like we've got some pretty solid support, man.
We getting some listeners?
Yeah, we got a couple people live. I'm trying to figure out get this link posted up to Twitter. Hey, if you're not following us on Twitter, do it. Follow us on Twitter. We just hit 3,000 followers. We're super pumped about that. I'm actually going to put a shout out on once we come back.
I wish we had like a sound bit from when, because whenever I saw the 3,000, all I could think about is how good it looked. And I wish we had that like Conor McGregor bit where he's got the 2 belts and he's like, "Oh, that looks good."
Champ.
Yeah. We lost a couple. We're back down to 3,000 even.
Yeah.
Because some people.
Testy. I wonder if we had any Oklahoma State fans that were mad after I shouted out OU yesterday. It's cool.
Man, I just want to say I am so thankful for you because I saw so many Oklahoma State fans happy that OU lost.
Trash. That's trashy.
We don't need to get into it, but
I can't stand that stuff.
It seemed are we about to end this break or do I got like 10 seconds.
You got 10 seconds.
Oh. It seems like one of those fans that they would rather win a lesser bowl game than lose at a higher level. And to me, losing in the playoffs is better than... And that's not a knock against Oklahoma State. They still had a decent season, but...
We are back. Thunder Things with Thunder guys. Craig and I talking a little bit of OU football here. A lot of disappointed fans.
It hurt, man.
It did. And I'm an Oklahoma State fan. We're sitting here talking about there are a lot of poor Oklahoma State fans out there that were glad to see Oklahoma lose. And, I mean, that is not me. I want to see, and, you know, some people don't like the whole cheer for the conference, cheer for, you know, whatever it may be. And I'm the kind of person that I want to see the Big 12 do well. I want to see the state of Oklahoma do well. And
except for Texas.
That's fair. It just makes sense that if Oklahoma State loses to Oklahoma, then you should want to see that team do well, because otherwise it just makes you look worse. Right. And that's kind of always the attitude that I've had, but I don't know. Maybe I'm special. No,
I guess now that we're back on the air, I can say it again. I'm thankful that you came over as an Oklahoma State fan and cheered on the Sooners with me. I'm sorry that I feel like it was probably a little bit awkward after the game.
It was.
I could tell by your exit. I walked, as soon as the game ended, I walked into the kitchen and sat down in the corner. And Zack kind of came up and was like, "Hey man, thanks for the invite. I'm out of here." And I no joke sat there for almost an hour after you left, just like not talking to anybody. Right. But I made a decision that I will never allow myself to get that upset over a game ever again.
I know you game, right? We're not talking Thunder.
Yeah, I know you game. But man, I'm just so tired of getting my hopes up year after year.
It's rough.
Heartbroken. It's been 17 years, man. We're due for another one in a bad way.
Jeremy just texted me, SEC, all caps.
Oh, my goodness.
SEC fans are losing their minds with Alabama.
I hate it.
Georgia. So do I, because they did so terribly
all
the way through.
And it's one of those things, and now it's hard to argue with the consistency there, but
they've got a lot of power up top and then nothing. And the Big 12, in my opinion, is
top to bottom
pretty good. I mean, let's ignore Kansas and Baylor. But everybody else, I mean, it looks like it was a pretty good year for the Big 12. Once again, Georgia made, to me, one, maybe two more plays than OU did. It's tough to see it go down like that.
Yeah.
I had fun
in my
watching
opinion,
the game. It was the most fun I've ever had watching an OU game, and I don't say that to be snarky because they lost, but
it was a fun game. Now that it's over, I can kind of appreciate the fact that was one of the best games in college football history.
It really was. And it sucks to be on this side of things, but it happens.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think unless Alabama comes out and absolutely dominates on Monday, I think it's safe to say that Oklahoma and Georgia were probably the two best teams in the football play. And if some way the matchups could have been different, I think that would have been your national championship game. So I'm cheering for Georgia. I always cheer for the team that beats my team. So.
And I think, Alabama, I didn't watch any of the game. I saw the score and saw some highlights and read about it. So I guess they looked pretty good against Clemson, but Clemson was not Clemson of last year.
I guess Saban changed his coaching methods heading into the bowl season.
Really?
He, I guess for the last how many ever years, has had the same thing, and his teams look tired, and this was the first time that he's let them take practices off.
Mike Gundy's kind of developed that. A lot of people are against it, but
they were healthy and fresh.
It does make a difference.
Yep. So
we're actually going to jump in for one of our new segments that we're doing. It's called Craig's Top 5. And this week you're doing your top 5
worst New Year's resolutions.
So I've got some top 5 music.
Give me my top 5 music.
Let's get it going. If you're on the YouTube live stream, you guys miss out on some of this sweet background music that we've got. But anyways, all right, it's all nice and chill. And anyways, so let's hear them.
Here we go. I'm gonna start with this week. I'm gonna start from number 1. It's going to be the worst New Year's resolution for me is to join a gym.
Okay.
I've made this mistake before. I went for the first month. Right. All through January, I was solid, and then I quit going, and I canceled my membership, and I wasted some money. Right. So don't do it. If your only reason to start working out is because it's a new year, that's not a good enough reason.
I've actually been, and I can't say like I'm in any kind of shape right now, but I've been on the side of it of I am a regular gym member. And I always knew from January, like the new year to about the 3rd week of January, I knew I had to go at a weird time. Otherwise, I was not getting on any machine because everybody was there. And I'm just like, I wanted so badly to be like, y'all ain't gonna be here in a month, so get out of my way, please.
And I bet the people who work at gyms, that's kind of like an ongoing joke. Like, oh, here we go. So number 2, kind of follows in line with the first one, is go on a diet.
Okay.
Come on. Everyone's like, you know what? I'm gonna pig out for the holidays, and then as soon as the new year comes around, I'm going on a diet. To me, that's just, again, if for New Year's resolutions in general, if that's your reason behind doing something, it's not enough. Right. I quit making them a long time ago because.
By the way, Angie said she's a fan of the new segment. She likes
it.
She likes Trent's top 5. So.
Okay, and then number 3 is using the same ones every year. Like if you're not,
if you didn't do it the last 5 years, you're probably not going to do it this
set
year.
yourself smaller goals. Don't.
Be realistic.
Right,
okay?
Exactly.
I feel like you and I want to go ahead and give a shout out to all of our Twitter followers. We set some what I thought were challenging yet realistic goals at the beginning of the season. We wanted to hit 3,000 followers on Twitter by New Year's Day, and we did it. Thank you guys so much. Just barely. But hey, we did it, and we knew that was a lofty goal, but we hit it. We're super excited. So if you don't follow us on Twitter, @TheThunderGuys, please check us out. We're super grateful for all of our followers on there. And I might as well tell them about our end of the season goal is to hit 3,501. People say, why not 3,500? That's because we don't want anything to do with 35 more than we have to.
Exactly.
But we want to keep moving that number. And by the end of 2018, we want to try to get some media credentials.
Yeah, so I guess that would really have to be around like September-ish is
probably
when we would need to get it done.
I don't know how it all works. We've got to keep just
I got information. We definitely missed out on it. Once the season starts, they don't even check those emails to get credentials. Really? Yeah, they've all been given out. So we got to hop on it early, maybe even during the summer.
Grind hard in the off season and get it worked out. So if you've got a hookup, you can feel free to hook us up because
I think that would really take our stuff to the next level, having that access. Number 4 is a career change.
Oh, man.
Don't do it.
If you're not already prepared to do that, and I'll just give this advice to anybody. If you don't have another job lined up, don't quit your current job because that's a terrible idea.
Never downgrade. Only leave for a better opportunity. Even if you're not completely happy with your current situation, don't go to something lesser.
Be smart. Be wise.
I put that one in there because I actually looked it up, and that's a career change is one of the top New Year's resolutions. I want to find something new to do in 2018 or whatever. So
find a new TV show.
Right. Don't try to pick up a new hobby or something.
Read a book.
Yeah. And then last but not least, this was also on the list of most used New Year's resolution is to be a better person. If you, again, have to decide that it's a new year, you're going to be a better person.
New year, new me.
You're probably not going to be a better person. So that's all I have for this week.
Right. Just be nice. I say that to my kids all the time.
Nice in
just
general.
be nice. Don't smile.
Be happy.
Don't be a terrible person.
Be a pleasant person to be around.
So good. I like that. Solid.
No, I guess my really only, I know I said I didn't make any, but my only goals for this year is to really take the Thunder Guys to the next level.
Yeah.
I was kind of in a point where I wasn't sure if I wanted to continue writing about the Thunder, but now I'm like sold out on it for sure. Right. I really want to take this thing off, and I think that we can do it. So let's get
For me, I don't really do New Year's resolutions. For me, I just try to figure out what it is that and this may sound a little cliche, what it is God's really wanting me to do in life. For me, I'm all about, this year my focus is fresh start, finish strong.
Yeah.
There are things that I've not been good at that I want to get a fresh start, and then I want to finish those things. I can't tell you how many times I've started something and I'm all for it, and then kind of like the whole gym thing.
Yeah.
You're going strong, and then just you're just done.
Right.
And I want to finish some things strong. I want to and like you're talking about with the Thunder Guys, let's take this to the next level. I feel like we've got something good going. We owe a lot of the credit to our fans. We thank you guys. If it weren't for you, we wouldn't be here. We'd be talking to ourselves. So, which
we do enough anyway.
We're pretty good at that. So, let's go ahead and move on. I want to talk about the improving offense and the struggling defense. Offensively, I feel like we're there. I think there's still a few key pieces that we could use some more bench help, some more consistency. I feel like Raymond Felton has been that guy. Jeremy Grant was earlier in the season. He's kind of not really been there offensively lately. And, he missed that game because of, I think it was the knee injury, whatever it was. Since then, I feel like he's not really been himself. He's had few of those key monster.
Maybe he's just taking him a little bit to get back into the flow of things.
I mean, it's crazy how long it can take you to get back into the flow when you've been. So I don't know.
Let me just say this. I'm loving Raymond Felton. Dude, I know we've got Paul George and Carmelo Anthony, but Raymond Felton legit might be my favorite new member of the Thunder. I have, you always hear about the guy. He's been in New York. He's been kind of all over the place recently, but now that he's on our team, I'm like, I don't know what it is. He blows my mind with the shots that he makes. Sometimes it's a little bit Russ-esque in a way. Like, you're like, don't take that shot, and then he knocks it down. So he made a couple clutch threes the other night. Didn't end up getting the win, but
I love him. I went to the Raptors game, and there was a couple sitting in front of me, and every time he hit a shot, I'd go, Big Daddy Ray! And I was just yelling, and they were cracking up. But when we first got him, I was like, all right, Cheeseburger Eddie, because, that's what I call him. Like, always with the cheeseburger jokes. I've always been that guy with him. But, man, I'd give up cheeseburgers for like a month for him. I would. That's how much I love him. I would.
I kind of want a cheeseburger right now.
He's been so good, though. But outside of that, I mean, to me, when we mentioned this, Russell Westbrook has got things going, and everybody else has kind of fallen into place. And we talked about it. The big three were not shooting where they should. Well below what the shots... And people argued shot selection. I don't think that... I think that was part of it. I think ISO was part of it. But at the same time, if you look at the analytics, the deep-seated stats of those shots they were taking... They still should have been going in at a higher rate.
Like we talked about at the beginning of the season, these guys were all three, the big three were all in the top 10 last season in isolation scoring. So, we were running an isolation offense, and it was frustrating everyone, but those shots should have been going down.
At least
the way these guys have been playing for the last 5 years,
for sure.
That's the way they play. And now they're finding their rhythm. They're getting into the right timing of things, spacing on the floor. Going back to Russell Westbrook, what we talked a little bit earlier about him finding his stride, is that it proves that he legit makes everybody around him better.
Yeah.
There was people who were doubting that a little bit, even after last season somehow. But it's, like I said earlier, it's no coincidence that his season's taking off and everybody else is following. And then, again, we've got now in the second unit, Raymond Felton is leading the way. Probably the best backup point guard we've had since... Reggie Jackson, maybe.
Yeah.
Derek Fisher.
I mean,
I love.
It went from Reggie to. I mean, who did we? Was it just Samaje Christian took over at that point, right?
Yeah, wasn't there?
We had Sebastian Telfair was here for just a little bit, but then we let him go, and then obviously we brought in Norris Cole last year, who just did not do anything.
Right. Didn't he do pretty well in his first game, and then we were kind of like,
he had a couple of decent games, but then it was he just never was the guy. To me, Raymond Felton is the guy that we wanted Norris Cole to be, but better.
Yeah.
I think by far it was the best move that we made financially, because we're not paying him much at all, and we've got him for a few years, and I mean, I'm cool.
I'm excited. I'm
he's
glad
doing.
To have him here.
He's had several of those double-digit scoring games. He plays decent defense. He's deceptively fast.
Yeah, it's weird. It's weird, yeah.
And he's strong, and he doesn't get pushed around a lot.
He's not afraid to go in there with the trees, man.
Yeah, not at all.
Sometimes he shouldn't, but he does.
Well, sometimes the way he glides between guys and puts in some of those almost Kyrie Irving-esque lay-ins, and I'm just like, how he do that? It doesn't make any sense.
I mean, he was having, a great career, and I believe it was when he got sent to Portland and then kind of got traded mid-season.
Yeah, Portland did not care for him. They said that he quit, and that's why. I mean, if you remember when we played Portland, they thought that he had completely quit on him and that kind of thing, and it was just.
And then he got sent back to New York, and so I think the way his career has gone doesn't show the player that he is, and now maybe here in Oklahoma City we're finally getting to see who he can be, and it's coming in huge for especially the second unit.
So the offense has been really good lately. The defense, on the other hand, has really struggled. And I think
real quick,
yes,
before we go into the defense, are you liking, now that it's happening more often, Russ and Raymond on the court at the same time, or are you still not a fan of it?
No, I mean, I guess I should say I haven't noticed it being a problem.
As opposed to earlier when it was.
Correct. Okay. I feel like maybe it was one of those things where they had to figure it out, and it's working. I think overall, Russ is doing what he needs to do when he's on the court. He's not over facilitating, which is crazy to even think that a point guard could try to do.
Right.
But he's not just too much. He was conceding. And Melo recently, he talked about the coaches met with him. They showed him film. He has accepted his role, and to me, he's not just saying it. He's doing it. We look at his numbers. He's shooting at a higher percentage. He's had a few games where he's put up a lot of shots, but typically it's in the flow of the game. He's not forcing as many. He's still, he's still mellow. He's going to do his thing. Yeah. But I'm looking at some of those plays like I mentioned earlier about Serge. He got Serge dancing. He got, who was it? It might have been Giannis. Got him dancing a couple times with his little jab, 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 dribble, jab, pull up. And it was
sometimes
he looked good.
Yeah, sometimes he gets them dancing, and then other times he does all these moves, and the defender goes nowhere, but he still somehow makes the shot. And
when he's feeling it, he's feeling it.
Yeah, I think it was Jim Traber on the radio who hates as it is, but he was saying even though it was after Melo had a really great game, he was still critiquing the shots that he took. But that's Melo. He's gonna take those shots, and I may regret saying this, but most of the time he's gonna make those. So you kind of gotta live with it.
Yeah. Besides that,
sorry to interrupt your.
No, you're fine. I was just gonna say, moving into the defense, to me the big issue has been not being completely healthy.
Right.
You lose a Paul George, you lose Andre Robertson,
which are our two best defenders.
When you lose either one of those guys, it doesn't. People don't realize it doesn't just mess up the effect that he has. It messes up the entire flow of. You're talking about rotations. You're talking about when guys play together, they feed off each other. And I feel like, especially with the backcourt of Russ, Dre, and Paul George, Russ is number 2 in the league in steals. It's not because he's like some crazy great defender. It's because he works well with Paul George and Andre Robertson. When one of those guys is out and somebody else has to fill in, when that somebody is Alex Abrines, then there's going to be some major difference. And here's my thing. Let me find this tweet earlier from Fred Katz. Here we go. Kind of going into our next segment here, talking Dre. We're missing him. Abrines has been bad. He said, now, and you'll remember me talking about this, like early on, Abrines had played, do you remember the show? It's been about a month or so. He'd only played 13 minutes total with the other starters, minus Andre. Mm-hmm. And I said, this is a small sample size. It was the worst Thunder lineup. Do you remember me saying that? Mm-hmm. And I said, this is small sample size, can't put much into it. Listen to this. The Thunder starters, like the regular starting 5, Russ, Dre, Paul George, Melo, and Adams, they are outscoring opponents by 11.3 points per 100 possessions. That's outrageous. That because you're basically talking our starters versus your starters,
right? By
100 points. By 100 points. 11.3 points per 100 possessions.
100 points, okay. Man, we'd be
there would be no games. Yeah. As far as we had a listener say DJ Augustine earlier. We forgot about him. He was pretty solid, and I like DJ a lot. We moved him to. He was part of the Orlando trade, right?
Yeah, and that's when he came in. He came in Durant's last year, and that's what it was the first time playing together since Texas.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. I like DJ Augustine a lot. So, good call. But moving on. So Thunder starters, 11.3 points per 100 possessions, outscoring opponents. The lineup with minus Dre, with Abrines in there, is getting outscored by 7.7 points per 100. That's an 19-point swing total. And you're talking because of defense. All right? And here's the thing. That's no longer a limited lineup. That lineup minus Dre plus Abrines, that's the second most played lineup that Oklahoma City does. Here's my interpretation. Billy Donovan has given Abrines a shot. He's not making things happen. He's not shot well this season at all. Extremely disappointed. His defense looked... I even said early that I thought his defense was looking like it was improving. It's not. It's bad. It's terrible. I mean, look at these numbers of when he played last week against Toronto, the game that we really dominated for the most part. He played 6.5 minutes, and he was a team worst by a lot, minus 19.
In 6.5 minutes?
In 6.5 minutes. He scored 0 points, did not take a shot. He did not put up any single stat except for 2 fouls. And I guarantee you those were probably on 3-point shooters or something like that. Okay? We move on to the next one. He started against the Bucks, and he played not even 10 minutes. And do you know why? It's because he went minus 24 in 9:42 in the first quarter. He shot 1 shot, which was a 3, and he missed it. And he recorded 1 rebound and 1 foul. He's a non-impact, okay? Next game, he played almost 15 minutes. He was 1 for 1 from 3, missed 2 other shots from the field, 4 fouls in 14:46. He's not a good defender. He cannot defend without fouling. He's not shooting well, and I feel like I've jumped ahead and I've done my rant. I didn't even get to play my special rant
Aw,
music that I
man.
picked out. Sorry.
That was it?
This is it. I'm tired of the Dre slander and the Abrines praise when Dre has, okay, I'm not going to say he's done nothing but do good things. He's had his negatives. He's missed some terrible free throws. He's shot terribly from three, which he's not really doing anymore. Abrines, to me, I don't see a positive there.
Right.
I don't think we just cut him out of the lineup. I think he should still get some playtime. But I don't know what's the benefit. Like, tell me what he offers to a starting lineup that's supposed to be scoring heavy when he's not scoring at all.
Right.
I don't know. It doesn't make any sense to me. It's frustrating, and you know, I'm a big Dre fan, so obviously I'm biased. I want to see him be successful. To me, when you see what the Dallas Mavericks do to this team when Dre is out, obviously that's not the only. You can't just say, well, that's all because of Dre's gone. But that's a part of it. That's a big part of it in my mind.
Oh, agreed, 100%.
And we miss him. I'm cool with Abrines not playing. I liked Houston getting I think Houston's got the start there, and he struggled.
He didn't play very many minutes.
He didn't play very much. I like him getting Abrines' minutes. I would even like to see Terrence Ferguson get a little bit more.
Yeah.
I think Ferguson still looks super uncomfortable on an NBA court. He's young. He's a rookie.
I'd go as far to
learning.
say that I'd rather see Kyle Singler.
And that's crazy.
But it's true.
But it's true.
Listen, in my opinion, and I'm reading into things a little bit, I think the only reason that Abrines is seeing playing time is because the Thunder are trying to find a way to get something out of him.
Right.
If you have a guy, like we can't sit here right now after not suiting up Kyle Singler all season long and get a trade out of him. Nobody's going to want him.
No.
But if you're playing a guy and you're supposed to be showing off his talents, and I think that's actually working in reverse effect in the fact that nobody's going to want Abrines right now.
Right.
And it kind of is the same thing with right before we dumped off Jeremy Lamb and
PJ3?
from Baylor.
Perry Jones.
We kind of started giving them more minutes, and then they were ultimately traded. So that's the only reason I can think that he's receiving any minutes at all.
Right.
Is that maybe Sam Presti is telling Billy we got to show him off. We got to try to get something. But I don't know.
No, I agree with you 100%. And that's why when I see people say, "Oh, well, should we look to move Alex?" I'm like, for what? A bag of chips?
Right.
Like, who's gonna want a guy that can't defend at all and he's not knocking down shots? What is he good at?
And who was it on Moneyball that got traded for the soda machine? They were just remember they traded him and they had to restock their soda machine in the clubhouse for the whole season. Yeah, you don't remember that? It was in the movie. When you said trade him for a bag of chips, that's what it reminded me of.
I don't remember that. It's been
years. He was literally traded for vending machine products. But anyways,
baseball's weird like that.
Could it be that Abrines knows that he's not a key on this team and he's about to get moved? Could that be affecting the way he's playing? Or
I don't know why it would though, because if he's hitting shots, he's not getting moved. He could be right there with. To me, he was supposed to be the bench guy along Jeremy Grant and Raymond Felton.
How do you go from setting the Thunder record for 3-point shots made
as a rookie? Yeah,
as a rookie, sorry, and to this? Was it a lucky season? Did he?
No, I think the knee injury had a lot to do with it. He came into training camp late. I don't know if maybe he was feeling good about himself as a rookie. I don't really know. I don't know if he came in with this mindset of I'm going to get to play more minutes, and then all of a sudden, Paul George comes in, Carmelo Anthony comes in, all these other guys are coming in, and things shift. I don't know if that messes with his mind or not.
To me, at some point,
he's playing more minutes than he was last season.
Yeah.
So it's not like he's out of the loop of what's going on, but he's not performing.
At some point, he had to have taken a shot to his confidence. It's clear. You can see it.
I agree,
and I don't know where it happened. I don't know.
Does he need a date?
Maybe someone bullying him in practice, like Melo and Paul George are like mean to him or something. I don't know because
he's a likable guy. I mean, we follow all the Thunder players on social media, but he's always posting pictures. I feel like he's a good team cheerleader. He's there for his teammates, and he's always even when he's not playing well. So I feel bad, but at the Toronto game, I was literally. I don't know if I.
Is that when you messaged me and you're like, "Hey, I figured out my rant for next week"? Is that what it was?
That may have been. But I remember there was somebody around me. They were like, "Who are you talking about?" Because I was saying comment after comment. Get him off the floor! Like all this stuff. And I'm like, who are you talking about? I go, Abrines. Like, oh yeah. And like he agreed with me. It was almost like he was going to get defensive of the Thunder. Like I'm not a real Thunder fan because I'm bad mouthing. And then I say Alex Abrines and he's like, oh yeah, okay. Right. And he agreed with me. And did we not? I don't know if you remember this. It's been over a year now. We did a preseason podcast with your dad over a year ago, and I said my player to watch was Alex Abrines. I was excited to see him. I loved him all last season, and I still love the guy. He's got to find his place, though. If he's not going to play good defense and he's not going to hit shots, I don't know where that place is right now.
Right.
I'm not saying that we trade him away because I think that's dumb. If guys, so many people are like, well, if they're not performing right now, get rid of them. To me, maybe he needs some time to develop. Obviously, we don't have time right now. We need to win right now.
Right. Question is, will he be given the time? Will he be given that opportunity? Seeing players in the
I don't
past
want to trade him for nothing, though.
Right.
If we're going to trade him, it needs to be worth our time.
Right, and that's what I say. Who could we get? That's always the question. For me, there's got to be some sort of impact. He's either got to play well, or like you said, if you can make a move, there's got to be a move made. I really want to see the guy start knocking down shots because I love the little beard.
Me too.
When he does that little scratch of the beard after he makes a shot, it makes me me smile.
Like I said, I love CC Nior. It's a lot of fun. Not quite as fun as Houston. We have a problem.
I love
Brian Davis is crazy.
Not a fan of all the stuff that he says, but the chicken salad out of chicken something else, and then the Houston's we have a problem is pretty good.
He's wild. Which, by the way, this is totally. We talk about how bad our local announcers are. I told you I watched the end of. I found a stream of the Lakers-Rockets game. The Rockets announcers are so bad. They are bigger homers than Michael Cade. Talking about there was a shot. It was an obvious goaltend, and they were trying to argue, well, I don't know. I don't know if it's on its downward turn, and it was like clearly on its way down, and it was a Trevor Ariza blocked shot, and they were trying to I
get it. You're on a local broadcast. Right. You're supposed to be biased, but I mean, it goes the same way with our crew. At some point, you got to be realistic.
It was a little out of control. We need to cut to another commercial break for our radio listeners on Crossover Radio with a Purpose. When we get back, we're gonna talk. I already skipped over. Went ahead and did my rant a little bit early. Got into. I was gonna try really hard to just talk about it and then save all my ranty stuff.
But you just let it.
I got going and I couldn't help myself. I've been holding it in. When we get back, we're gonna talk about our latest posting of our NBA Power Rankings. They're actually not up yet. I'm saving that for right after our show. I will get those posted live.
That's my bad, by the way.
Not live, but I'll get them posted. So you guys are actually gonna get a little bit of taste of what those are before we get them posted. We're going to talk about those a little bit, and I'm going to poke a little bit of fun at some of yours so you can do the same with mine. Because I feel like we agree in a lot of ways, and then we disagree in some others.
You're going to poke fun at my rankings?
Maybe. I don't know. We'll see.
Wow.
So, whenever we get back, we will be talking NBA Power Rankings and then take a look at the weekly forecast, where I think the Thunder has a really good chance to pick up some easy wins. But
there's no such thing as easy wins.
That's been the case. So, we'll be right back after a word from these sponsors.
Is this our last break? Are we not doing 3?
This is our...
We only got 30 minutes left.
Did we only do one other one?
I think so.
You may be right. If you're watching live, thanks for tuning in. Appreciate it. Appreciate the commentary that's been coming in. Keenan Harris. You're dead on about DJ Augustine. He was a solid guy here. I actually was a big fan of him. Liked him a lot. Was sad to see him go. I've seen he's had a little bit of success, so that's cool to see. But when we get back, we are going to take a look at these power rankings. I actually need to pull mine up so that I can take a look at those. And we're going to see what Craig has to say about Le rankings.
They're getting easier to do now that there's a lot more games been played.
They're
so tight at the beginning.
Yeah, everything was just kind of all over the place, so it was hard to really pick out who was where and that kind of thing. But I feel like a lot of teams are kind of falling into their spots. So
still a few surprises, though, if you ask me.
Say what?
Still a few surprises.
Oh, yeah. This last week's been crazy. Some teams at the bottom playing well. Some teams at the top not playing well. So that's been pretty crazy. Pretty crazy.
We gonna start out with bottom 5 or what?
What do you want to do? Let's do top 10.
Top 10? Only top 10?
No, I mean, I want to talk all of them.
Okay,
Let's go through all of them for sure.
For sure. Man, my hair really does look kind of weird coming out the back right there. kind of like it.
Welcome back to Thunder Things with the Thunder Guys. We are the Thunder Guys. Make sure you give us a follow on Twitter, Instagram. Give us a like on Facebook at the Thunder Guys. We're keeping you updated with all kinds of game previews, game recaps. We've got our weekly power rankings going up today. Actually, right after the show, those will be getting posted, and we're going to talk about those right here. We're also live tweeting, sneak peek. That's right. We're also live tweeting every single game. We've been on top of our stuff this year. Like, I know we've had a few situations where you've been at work and I've been busy, so you've had to just kind of throw in tweets here and there. But hey, we're keeping the masses informed. We're staying on top of things. I feel like we've done it for a two-man show. Metaphorically speaking, and like right now, two-man show. I feel like we do a pretty good job.
Yeah, I would.
I'd say. I mean, we're right up there with the best of them. I don't know. Maybe not the best of them. I feel like we do pretty good.
I feel like maybe we're biased.
I feel like we got some solid content. Anyways, give us a follow. Make sure you're checking out our blog. We're posting some stuff, and we'd love to hear what you guys think. Because I don't know. I mean, I feel like I'm right in what I say, and obviously you think you're right. And we'd like to think that we're knowledgeable, but sometimes, it's nice to hear from other people and see what they might think, whether your opinions are right or wrong. I don't know. So let's jump in. NBA Power Rankings. Every week we do a top 10, a 3 to watch, and a bottom 5. And so let's go ahead and jump in. Let's take a look at our top 10. I have not looked at yours yet. You emailed them to me, but I've not. I'm assuming that they're probably pretty similar. Who do you have at number 1?
Golden State.
I've got Golden State. I mean, I don't know if you saw, they had a double-digit loss to the Hornets at home. That's pretty bad. But besides that, I mean, Steph Curry's back, and he doesn't look like he's really missed anything in his stride. He's been real solid. So, who do you have at 2?
I have Toronto. They've lost a couple in a row. And unfortunately, due to Boston's great start, now Boston is back ahead. But in my opinion, that doesn't reflect the way that those two teams have been playing. I feel like Toronto's been playing way better.
I've actually got Boston ahead of Toronto. I've got Boston at 2 because they had a solid week, won 3 in a row, including that 1-point victory over the Rockets. Granted, the Rockets were struggling. CP3 was out. It was kind of controversial. I don't know if you saw that.
That was the game where Harden did the rant.
That was one of the games. Yeah. He actually did 2. But I digress. Then I have Toronto at 3. Who do you have at 3?
At 3, I have Boston. So we
Boston.
Got,
so those are just flip-flopped. 4, I've got Cleveland.
4, I've actually got the, I'm sorry. No, I have, my goodness. I have the Spurs.
Okay.
I really feel like they're going to find their stride now with a healthy Kawhi.
And he's not quite healthy, which is...
Is he still on a restriction?
Yeah, I've got them. You've got them at 4. I've got the Spurs at 6, and here's why. He's not playing consecutive games right now. He's not. I think the most he's played is almost 28 minutes in a game, which is obviously not going to be his regular. And I get it. Like they're still winning. I mean, they're 25-12, which is solid considering. Right. So I think I do agree.
It's not talked about. I mean, they're what? Just a couple of games out of being in. I mean,
I think the only reason they're not talked about is because they're not. Nobody really knows what to expect, which is crazy because they're missing clearly their best player. LaMarcus Aldridge has been pretty fantastic, but missing Kawhi Leonard, like he's capable of doing so much for a team. So who really knows what they're going to be doing once he's back to full strength doing what he does?
I mean, it's like what you said a couple of weeks ago. Pop could get like a bunch of dudes from the YMCA and win some games in the NBA. So
It's crazy what he's able to do. At 4, I've got the Cleveland Cavaliers. They're actually struggling right now. They've lost to the Warriors, and then they lost on the road to the Kings and the Jazz. But I don't know if you saw this, Isaiah Thomas making his comeback tonight.
Not starting.
I didn't expect that. I wonder how much he'll play. I like IT a lot. I've been a fan of his since he got drafted in Sacramento. I think we talked about this last week.
Yeah.
I just like he does what he needs to do. He stays strong. He's smaller, so he gets beat up what I feel like a lot. He's not a great defender, so a lot of people are on him about that. But overall, I mean, I like the guy a lot, so I'm excited to see what he's going to do. I don't know. I feel like the Cavs are just going to get better. But obviously, chemistry means everything, so we'll see about that. Who do you have after the Spurs?
I actually have the Cavs after the Spurs.
You have the Cavs, okay. Then I've got the Rockets at 5. They went on a, 6-game losing streak? I can't even remember. Which they snapped it against the Lakers. Took them double overtime to do so, which is kind of sad. But that was a game that was, to me, had a few controversial calls there at the end. Chris Paul loves to push off on offense. I'm just going to say that. So Rockets fans probably won't like to hear that. But, hey, that's the truth. Then who do you have at 6?
I have the Rockets.
You have the Rockets. So our top 6 are all the same, just
in
slightly different
orders,
order. Who do you have at 7?
Timberwolves.
Timberwolves, that's who I have as well. They've won 7 of their last 8. They're hot right now. Jimmy Butler's just been tearing it up.
Right.
He's on my fantasy basketball team, which is awesome.
He's doing exactly what they need to do. And he's probably, out of guys who have landed on a new team, I think he's probably having the biggest impact.
Yeah, he's doing. I mean, he had a few games early on. It didn't look like he was doing much. He was just kind of like.
But at the same time, he wasn't doing too much. He was doing just enough. So it's.
But he's been. I mean, he's got to be averaging close to 30 points over this eight game spread, which is really impressive for him. Number 8, who you got there?
I have the Washington Wizards.
I've got them at 9. I've got the Thunder at number 8 right now. I think the last 2 wins, to me, I try to keep things in perspective. I feel like they were, did I say wins? Losses. Yeah.
I know
the
what
last
you
2
meant.
losses. Okay. The last 2 losses were bad to me. Obviously, like you said earlier, Bucks shouldn't have lost that one. Ref should have got it right. Dallas was just bad. So I almost wanted to bump them out of the top 10 just because I was so disappointed. But
see, I had them at 8 last week, bumped them down to 9.
To me, it means something, the fact that they beat the Rockets and the Raptors. Finished solid, what I thought was solid December. I mentioned to you the schedule ahead, and we'll actually hold off on talking about that. I feel like January could be a really good month. At least I'm hoping, so we'll see. I've got Washington at 9. You have who at 9?
The Thunder.
You have the Thunder, so those are just flip-flopped, and then who you have at 10?
I have the Detroit Pistons.
So do I. They had a bad streak there, lost 7 in a row, and then now they've won 6 of their last 8. Right. So they're a weird team, kind of on and off. So I don't know what they're capable of doing, but our 3 to watch, we get in here, and 2 of them are the same for us.
I think I enjoy doing the 3 to watch more than I enjoy doing the top 10.
Right, because it's kind of fun to see like who might look. Yeah.
Right. So especially like last week, I had Portland in my 3 to watch, and I really feel like now they're like, I mean, they're right. Like if I had one more spot, I would put them in there. So,
so our 3 to watch were pretty similar. We both have where is it? Milwaukee and Miami. Those are the 2 that we have the same. And then you put in the Clippers.
I did,
which I thought was shocking, because they have a negative. They're below 500.
Right,
but. You brought up a good point, and that's one of the things I'm going to let you go ahead and talk about. What is it that you like that you've seen from them?
What I like is that despite how poorly they've played early on, but largely due to injuries, they haven't been healthy. Blake Griffin's back now. They're winning some games. I think they're at the 9th spot. Like they're right.
They're close.
So even though they're in the negative, they're 16 and 19. They're right there on the brink of being in the playoffs, and I really feel like if they can stay healthy, which is a huge if, I think they're going to be a playoff
but they're
team.
Close.
So in my opinion, that puts them in the 3 to watch because I see them becoming a playoff team. I don't know that they'll ever. I shouldn't say this. I don't know if they'll make it into the top 10, but I do think that it's possible that they make the playoffs.
It's going to be... They've got an uphill climb if they're going to do that. That's fair. Milwaukee Bucks and Miami Heat, we both have them. I feel like the Bucks have been pretty solid. They've also kind of been up and down.
This is the first time I haven't had them in my top 10, I think.
Which is interesting because they just beat us.
Right.
But it's hard to count that, isn't it?
Yeah.
That's kind of where I was. I struggled with that. So went ahead and gave it to him anyway. But then the Miami Heat, it's crazy. When you look at their roster, they don't have an all-star there. They're getting carried by
Dion,
Waiters Island. But he's not really. I mean, he's done something. He'll have a good game every now and then, but even then, he's not doing too much. Goran Dragic, he's probably the best. Their leader, I guess you would say. Which he's in a weird situation.
He was sent there last year, right?
I think this is his 3rd year there.
Third?
I think so.
Well, I mean,
I'm trying to. It's been.
Forget what I just said because I could have sworn that he came in last season. I can't remember when
it was. It's been because he was at Phoenix and then he got traded there. And he's been really solid. Hassan Whiteside's been injured a little bit here and there, and he's just not been the player that he was past couple seasons. So.
Yeah, he was a good rim protector. Yeah. And...
They won 8 of their last 12, which, that's not like crazy fancy or anything, but for what they've got, they're winning games. So you gotta chalk it up to them for that. Then we get into our bottom 5, which this is where it's really easy to be brutal to some teams, and I
oftentimes am a little sarcastic, and
it's hard not to be. You've got. At your very bottom, you've got Atlanta. And I actually bumped them up they are number 5 out of my bottom 5. So they're almost out. And here's why. They had a good week.
They won,
They beat the Wizards and the Trailblazers. Not just beat them, but by double digits, both. Okay? But, and here's why I said, they're going to have to sustain if they want to break out of the top 5. You pointed out they were the last team to get to double-digit wins in the NBA, which at least they did that. We've had times where it's taken a lot longer than the midway mark for teams to hit.
Here's the thing with Atlanta is they're a team that they don't have any sort of superstars.
Yeah.
We talk about Miami not having them, but at least they have Dion Waiters.
Yeah.
But
they have like 7 guys that can get to 10 points.
Exactly. I think they're all averaging double digits actually. At least 5 of them are. So
they've got almost 8 players, I think.
Yeah, so if you're not coming in prepared, if you're thinking, okay, this is the Hawks, we don't have to show up tonight, then there's a chance they can beat you.
They almost beat us.
Right.
I mean, if you remember a few weeks ago, Russ had to hit that buzzer beater 3, which was that totally
we had
unnecessary.
the amazing fourth quarter,
I think
had he not played well, would have been a loss.
My bottom team though, I have the Lakers. They have not been in my bottom 5 all season, but they have lost. Let's see. I've got them. They've lost 7 in a row, 10 of their last 11. Lonzo Ball's missed the last 5 games. I said, it's kind of sarcastically, maybe he's actually important to this team being successful.
Right.
But Lopez is out also.
Yeah, I mentioned that in mine. It doesn't hurt me that the Lakers are.
I've got a friend, and here's the thing. He gives me a lot of crap about it, but I was a huge Kobe fan, so I was a Lakers fan. I loved Kobe. He was my favorite player in the league for a long time. And I was actually a Lakers fan, admittedly, for the first year and a half that the Thunder were here. Thunder were my number 2. Even when they were losing, they were still my number 2. But there was a game, actually it was the playoffs when Pau Gasol knocked the Thunder out. Whenever. I remember Gasol hit the shot, and part of me was excited that the Lakers won. But at the same time, I remember telling Angie, I was like, I don't know how much longer I can be a Lakers fan or a Thunder fan. And people say, well, that's jumping on the bandwagon. If you want to say that, that's fine.
Yeah.
But they lost. They were knocked out of the playoffs, and I was sitting there thinking, they're the hometown. And that's me. I'm a hometown kind of person. I have to cheer for the hometown crowd. And at that point, I was pretty much all in. I couldn't help myself.
Right. That's me in a way. I was a Kobe fan. I was a Lakers fan. But I was a Lakers fan in the same way that people who don't really care about the MLB are Yankees fans.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
And so
one of my favorite
childhood memories is we lived in Miami, Oklahoma, and my dad let me ditch school for a day. We drove down to Oklahoma City, and the Lakers played an exhibition game against the Wizards, which is in what's now the Chesapeake Energy Arena. So that was kind of cool. Got to see Kobe play, but same thing for me. As soon as the Thunder arrived, I was all
so but I have no ties to them now.
Yeah, exactly. It doesn't hurt my feelings to see them struggling, especially with Lonzo Ball being there.
Have you seen Kyle Kuzma play at all? Kid can ball.
Really?
He's good, and it's kind of scary.
I like his name.
Yeah, he's got that alliteration going on, and after that, I've got the Orlando Magic. You've got them pretty low also.
Yeah,
they're
1 out of their last 10.
Oh my gosh, this is what I wrote. I wrote, I should have trusted my gut in the preseason when I labeled the Magic as a bottom 5 team. Because they were down there. And then they went on that win streak, and I was like, man, I was so wrong. But I wasn't.
Right.
They just
jumped on the
what
hype.
it was, how they, and they've got some talented players. They're bad. I see we both got Sacramento in there. You've got them a little higher than I do, but they're so bipolar almost. They beat the Cavaliers by 14 points, but then they turn around and lose to the Suns and the Grizzlies.
Yeah.
Who have been terrible.
The Grizzlies hurt.
It doesn't make any sense. Yeah, you've got the Grizzlies at 4. I've got them at 4 also.
You know who I don't have in here? Chicago. And they're barely out of it.
What have they done? They've won 7 or 8 games recently, which is just wild.
6 out of their last 10.
That's
they're 9-9. They're 9-9 at home.
They've just they put together some wins, so they broke. Remember, they were dead last.
I think I would have assumed that Chicago would be down at the bottom, especially with their preseason drama with the fight and practice.
But those two guys both came back, or Mirotic came back from the face being broken and that stuff, and they're getting along.
Yeah,
and I don't know. Maybe
that's dudes though.
I guess
guys can throw some punches.
If you've ever got a problem with me, please don't punch me in the face.
Right? No, I won't. But I had a coach, and I won't mention any names, but he was a fan of letting fights go on for a little bit before he split them up, because that's what guys need sometimes.
Yeah.
And guys are the first people to hug it out after a fight.
That's
so
fair. After that, I've got the Hawks. Like I said, you've got them down at the bottom, though. Who else did you have in there? I think
we had the same.
We've got the same vibe.
Yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
just different order.
Yeah.
So we stayed pretty consistent with that. So yeah. Anyways, we've got about 15 minutes left. So let's go ahead and take a look at our weekly forecast. Games coming up. We play the Los Angeles Lakers in Los Angeles tomorrow at Staples Center. Like we said, I've got them as my bottom team in the league. If we lose this game,
I thought I saw something where Lonzo Ball and Brook Lopez were both cleared to play.
Were they?
Is that not?
This
is saying that they're out.
These game notes that I have are for their game on New Year's Day. That's yesterday.
Oh, I see
these
it
are
up
not.
now.
Yeah,
Okay.
These are not the most accurate game notes. So
Okay.
you saw they are cleared to play.
Yes. Let me double check that real quick.
So then they will be back, obviously. So the that means Tyler Ennis will probably be seated along with I don't know, maybe Josh Hart.
Okay, I'm sorry. They were cleared to practice.
Oh, so probably not going to play.
Yeah, probably not going to play, but they're cleared
Probably
to
not
practice.
going to play.
So hopefully they'll be Hopefully for the Lakers'
They are
sake,
small.
they'll be returning soon.
They've got 3 guys that are 6'9", and that's their tallest in the starting lineup. So I mean, this is a game where I'm going to look for Steven Adams to just dominate. Honestly, just brutalize some people.
If we don't make him the focus of the offense, it's a mistake in my opinion.
I don't know if you saw this, but they gave an update on Andre Robertson. He's got the left patellar tendonitis. He's sitting out the next 3 games.
Not the patellar.
Yeah.
Man.
Having those knee issues. He's out the next 3 games. He's on the road trip with the team. He's not going to miss out on a trip to L.A. Come on, man. But I'm just saying, like that's got to be a highlight for NBA players. But he is not going to be playing, so that's kind of disappointing. But honestly, I'd rather him get healthy now against who we're playing than these other teams.
How do you think they feel about going to Canada? Real quick, is that like a... Do they have going to Canada? You don't have to do the passport thing.
Yeah,
you can do, but you can get the different one. You don't have to have like your actual. You can
really.
I think so.
Well, I don't feel like that would be a big deal, but I'm just thinking it's cold.
Yeah,
I mean it's cold here right now.
I'm just wondering if they have like a different like customs and immigration process because I would hate to do that multiple times throughout a season.
Surely there's a fast track way for them to do.
Right.
I don't know.
Anyway, that's what I was thinking. But
yeah.
Sorry, that was a side note.
So LA, I mean, I'm looking at they 3-11 in December. They were not good. Even at home, they've lost 7 in a row at home. I mean, how bad is that? I feel pretty good about this. Obviously, I feel like we've got to get this win, right?
Agreed. Yeah. It should
More
be...
so than Dallas. We need this win.
Dallas would have been nice.
Well, because it was New Year's Eve and it was home and punctuated.
I feel like we were really peaking at the time, but yeah, perhaps to keep it from falling off even more.
This would be 3 losses in a row, especially if it was to LA.
Especially after the way we've been playing lately. But definitely a winnable game in LA.
And then that's a late game, by the way, tomorrow night, 9:30 tip. So
I will be live tweeting and doing the recap. So if you guys are still awake,
pour your coffee, tune in, jump in on the conversation. The very next night, Thursday night, we play Los Angeles Clippers in Los Angeles. Another Staples Center game, different looking court. It's another 9:30 tip, so that's going to be a late one. And like you mentioned, they're starting to get healthy. Obviously, Patrick Beverley, he's out for the season. Karma. But anyways, Danilo Gallinari,
Karma finally caught up to him after all these years.
Gallinari has a torn left butt cheek. I don't know if you heard that, but so he's out for a while. Austin Rivers, he's questionable right now. He could be back, might be back. He's got a sore right Achilles. But besides that, I mean, they got, and I struggle to say the guy's name, Milos Teodosic, I think is how you say it. His stats don't show it, but the dude is capable. Like, he's looked good. He also looks like he's like 30. I don't know if you've seen pictures of him. Yeah. He's always got that perpetual, like, it's been 11 days since I shaved last, and he just rolled out of bed. So,
real quick question about the Clippers. Do you think the reason that Doc Rivers is no longer in charge of the general manager duties is because he wouldn't be capable of getting rid of his own son?
I think that could have something to do with it, and I also think it has to do with the fact he's just not a good general manager.
Right, but it's so hard. I mean, who was the last coach to do both duties and be successful at it? You know what I mean? It's not something that's easy.
I agree.
But
and obviously, just because you're a good coach doesn't mean you're a good general manager.
I wonder
Phil Jackson.
Yeah, I wonder if there was any type of conversation there, and he was just like, I can't do that.
Right.
So,
to me, interesting starter in place of Austin Rivers since if Austin Rivers has to sit out. Started the season off as third-string point guard. Now he's starting Juwan Evans, played at Oklahoma State last year. He's actually had some decent play time. Not played a whole lot, but I mean, he's just a stat on here that I see. On December 15th against Washington, he joined Ben Simmons as the only 2 rookies this season with 15 points, 5 rebounds, 5 assists, 5 steals in a single game. I mean, that's a solid stat line.
Yeah.
So it'll be cool to see him again.
Should be 2. That the Lakers and the Clippers should be 2 wins for the Thunder.
Should be. I think the Clippers will be more difficult because it's the second half of back-to-back. Thankfully, we don't have to travel at all.
Things are also always chippy with the Clippers. Blake Griffin loves to play the
confused. What do you mean, me?
Right, like did I shove him in the back?
Yeah,
what? But anyways, maybe now that we've had some players move on to other teams, it won't be as chippy. But I also don't want to hear from my father, who is a Clippers fan, because he's been quiet this year with their struggles. But I don't want to give him any reason to have any type of bragging rights. So,
and then on Sunday we play the Phoenix Suns in Phoenix to wrap up that short road trip. I think that's the end of the road trip. I can't remember. But Phoenix, they're one of those teams where they've not really done a lot this season. They've been decent lately. Kind of. They've won a few games here and there. I know that Devin Booker was your pick preseason for scoring leader. I mean, he's averaging 25 points a game, so he's
kind of coming on.
He's definitely capable. I don't know if he's going to catch James Harden anytime soon, but
that's the
he's
problem.
still very capable. I don't know if you saw that crazy buzzer beater dunk by Tyson Chandler the other day.
Yeah.
Just how do you not see that coming?
Right.
I don't know.
I still feel like with Devin Booker, I picked the right scoring champion on the wrong year.
Right.
I think
he's got another year
definitely,
or 2 to go.
Yeah, definitely. One day he'll be up there.
Right. So I'm looking at these games and I don't know. What do you think? Let's do the whole. What would you be thrilled? What would you be content? What would you be disappointed?
Listen, after the great month of December, but the fall off at the end of the year, I'm gonna be really, I don't know what the word here is.
Conservative? Cautious?
No, not the exact opposite. I think we need 3
Optimistic.
wins. I think we need 3 wins, and
Okay.
I'm saying that's the only thing
That's the only way you'll be thrilled.
If 2-1 is not terrible, but coming off the back-to-back losses to end the season, these are 3 winnable games. See, I don't even need to look. None of these teams have winning records.
No, not at all.
If we play the way we should play, or the way we can play, we should win these games. And I'll be disappointed if we let one slip.
Okay,
to be
that's
quite
fair.
honest
For
with
me, and I'm kind of in the same boat. To me, double-digit wins over all 3 would be thrilled. Winning all 3 would be content. Losing even 1, I'd be disappointed. And I know that's kind of high, I guess, up there for some people. What are we looking at?
I was just saying, who was the comment from earlier?
Keenan Harris.
Oh, never mind. We picked up a new follower, and I was wondering if
cool.
I wonder if it was Keenan, but it's not. So Keenan, if you're not following us, you should go do that real quick.
If you are, thanks for following, thanks for watching, thanks for commenting.
Anyways, sorry, I got distracted.
No, you're good. Like I said,
with a
all 3, I feel like those are. We should win, and we should win big.
Yeah,
even with Dre out, I'm okay with that. If we look at these teams, there's they don't have crazy good backcourts. I mean, the LA Lakers
shoot particularly well.
Yeah, you look at the LA Lakers, and I'm thinking. I mean, you've got Tyler Ennis starting right now, and he's averaging 3 points a game. Josh Hart averaging 5 points a game. Everybody knows Brandon Ingram, Julius Randle, Kyle Kuzma. Those are their big guys. Put Paul George on Kyle Kuzma probably. Shut him down and leave the rest up to. I mean, we should be able to outscore these guys.
I don't even need necessarily double-digit wins. Big wins would be nice, of course,
right.
But like I said, it's been my thing all season long. A win's a win.
A win is a win, yes.
And 3 wins. I don't care if they're all by 1 point. I'll be extremely happy. With a few minutes left, let me ask you a question.
Fire away.
Safe to say that the Thunder are, as well as they've been playing, they're still a couple pieces, 1 maybe 2 pieces away from being a championship caliber team? And I'm going to say, my question, I guess, is, do you think that those pieces come within the team, or do you think that moves need to be made? Because I'm thinking if Jeremy Grant gets back to playing the way that we know he can play, and then somehow if Abrines can swing things around, those could be our two pieces right there.
I think we are capable of competing even with the Golden State Warriors, which so many people say there's no way, and I hate that because that's not true. It's foolishness. Okay, I think with the team that we've got, we are capable of competing with the Rockets. We are capable of competing with the Warriors. Now, winning a 7-game series, I don't know. That's hard to do. But we beat the Warriors. We beat the Rockets. Were both teams fully healthy at the time? Not quite. Does it matter to me? It doesn't. You play with what you've got, and that's all there is to it. I don't think any team is ever 100% healthy. I think guys play so many games in a year; they're always dealing with injuries. You got to learn to deal with what you've got. And what we're talking about isn't problems in the starting lineup. We're looking at bench issues. If we've got Alex Abrines, Jeremy Grant, Patrick Patterson, those kinds of guys, if they start playing with where we want them to be playing at, what they're capable of doing, then I think we've got something going. And then you bring in Josh Hustis, and he puts together a solid game. If Terrence Ferguson picks up some more minutes, I don't know. I think our bench is capable of doing enough to get some wins, to make some things happen. And yeah, I don't think we have to go. So many people are quick to go outside looking for wins elsewhere. I don't think we need that.
Yeah, no, I agree with you.
I don't think we need to add to this team. I mean, here's what I'll say. I'm not saying don't make a trade. I'm just saying don't lose. Right. Don't lose on a trade. Presti has been so good, win after win after win after win on these trades. We shouldn't take a loss because we're panicking.
Right. And I'm kind of the opposite on the 7-game series. I think a 7-game series favors this Thunder team. If you look at the games that we've lost, I don't see any of those teams beating us in a 7-game series.
Not at all.
Drop a game or two. We've beat the Warriors. We've beat Houston. Here's the thing, and I don't want to be the guy who's like, players don't get up to play certain teams, but bottom line is Paul George and Melo both came here to beat Houston, to beat Golden State. They couldn't do that where they were in the past. And so to me, if we were to match up against one of those teams in the playoffs to make it to that point, which we're definitely capable of doing, I like our odds. I like our chances.
That's fair. I like that. With that, we are going to bid adieu here. Like I said earlier, if you're not already, give us a follow on Twitter, Instagram. Give us a like on Facebook at The Thunder Guys. Give us a shout. Throw some conversation our way. We're not too big yet to where we can't respond to people, right?
Yeah, I hope we never make it to the point where we can't respond to people.
I try to respond to people. Really, the only time that I feel like we don't respond is when people are just being outrageous or Rockets or Warriors fans. We just have to quit. Yeah. We have to pull the plug on the trolling. We can't buy into that. But anyways, follow us, give us a shout, check out our stuff that we've been putting together. We've been reading, we've been writing a lot, trying to get some good content out there. And if you've got any ideas for Craig's top 5 or ideas on anything in general that you'd like to hear from us, let us know, because we're open to talking. We can fill up a solid hour and a half of Thunder basketball for sure, but we're open to whatever it may be that you guys want to hear from us. So with that being said, thanks for tuning in. We look forward to hearing from you guys, and everybody have a great week.